Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my max effort bench press day, and I started off with rows. I might lighten these up to get closer to 8 or 10 reps at the start of some of these, but one of the things I wanted to do here is obviously I want to do some upper and middle back work all of my training days, or the majority of them, mainly because again it helps me so much with a lot of stuff I do. It actually improves my squat and my bench press in terms of stability. But the other thing with it, I started doing them now, of doing some back work before I do my benching, right? So I'm doing back work before the benching. And again, a lot of reasons for doing that. There's a lot of coaches out there with big benches I know who advocate that. It certainly doesn't seem to hurt their ability to bench. But the idea is that it gives you a pump in your lats, your rear delts, traps, all those stabilizers, which can help potentially stabilize your shoulder just a little bit. Okay, and that's the idea. All we're looking at is maybe a little more stability on the bench, maybe a little lower injury risk. So not a bad thing. You just don't want to exhaust yourself. You don't want to come in and do, ridiculous amounts of this stuff that's going to be problematic. So that being said, I went ahead and went with the Buffalo bar today. Yeah, so the Buffalo bar is what I decided to max on today. Again, conjugate maxes, we're going to rotate bars, bands, chains, floor presses, maybe even some incline, all sorts of stuff, so that we're rotating to a different max every day. And I was pretty happy with this. I was a little worried, because the closed grip has felt a little weak starting back up. And I'm like, oh man, everything felt heavy. But I realized I held back on those others because this moved, like even some of these, they felt just as heavy as that chain work did the other day. And I ended up, not going real hard on that. But with this, I'm like, these felt heavy. I'm like, man, this felt more than 90%, but it can't be based upon some of my other strength going up in the triceps. So I just kept going. All right, I kept going. I worked it up. I went up to 280, 300. Then I hit 320. Now, I'm rounding that down because this bar is supposed to be 52 pounds according to the manufacturer. I'm just going to round it at 50 like I did for the squats. So when I hit that 500 squat with this bar a while back, we just call it 500. I'm just going to round it down to 50. Okay, so just for people curious where I'm getting the weight, I'm just counting this as a 50-pound bar. It's supposed to be 52. Let's just call it 50. All right. I'll count the squat bar as a 55 because we have calibration on that. That's me legal. So yeah, I went ahead and did this, and actually the 320 moved better than I thought. It stuck a little in the middle. So it was heavy enough that I'm like, if I go any further, I'm either going to miss or grind. So if I make another 10-pound jump, there's a good chance I'm going to miss the lift. So I feel like this is actually a max, because notice that slow in the middle. Now some people would say, that still wasn't quite 100% max. And I agree, but it's close enough that another jump is a possible miss. So I stopped there. And I kept the volumes pretty moderate today because I'm doing 2 days, so I'm like, I'm going to get more volume on the dynamic day. So I'm like, let's just do that. We're going to do the quality work. So dips, because I'm feeling dips so much in my chest. And what did we see? Look at that, 4 closed grip bench. Okay, I want people to not think about different benches. That's a closed grip bench. Notice where I sticked. Notice where it slowed down. That was pec, that was not tricep. Does it mean I don't need to hammer my triceps? No, I need my triceps a lot bigger. Okay, but notice once I got through that point, it actually did, it sped back up. It's chest, so I'm like, let's hammer the chest. Let's do some chest work today. Let's push the dips. And I feel dips in my pecs. I had chest DOMs the first times I did these the other day for 3 days straight. Okay, I feel like the dips are definitely doing a lot for the chest, but I want to push some PR, so I did. All right, I got an easy 10 reps with that 55, because I've been doing 10s with the 45. So I'm like, let's go up to 80. I got 6 reps, and I'm like, I felt I definitely left at least a rep in reserve. Let's go for 90. Now, my first rep, I don't ever get the same depth on dips. I just can't. I would suck on a max on dips, which I don't recommend you do. But once I got into this, I did 90, and I managed to squeeze out 6 reps. Like, okay, now we're moving forward. Let's start setting some performance goals on there. I look at them like I'm kind of happy with that. We'll get stronger on the dips, and they felt good. Right, that's the main thing. One thing I will note, that inflammation is not corrected in my shoulder. I'm noticing on all the benching, I'm feeling crackling in certain areas. So, and it's in the middle. It's almost along my collarbone. It's not. It doesn't even feel like in the shoulder joint. So I can tell where it's at. So that's interesting. Yeah, that AC joint is still inflamed, and I need to get that inflammation down. But it's going to happen by taking all the wide grip benching out, taking out the side delt work, doing the other stuff. So we're going to keep working on that, get that shoulder health on point. I feel like some stuff has been freeing up in my shoulder, though. Certain stuff when I mess around, do a little mobility, some movement. I'm starting to feel some stuff popping kind of into place, some things trying to free up. So we are making progress there. So I'm happy about that. Now, so we'll just double down and just hammer the pecs and triceps into the ground. So I did just one set of pullovers. I'm like, let's just do a real high rep set with a 55. And I'll do something a little different with them on dynamic day. But all this other stuff was heavy, 10, 6, 6, singles. So I'm like, let's get a little bit of reps here just to get some extra pump and blood flow to my pecs, to the triceps. And then triceps, we go ham on the bands, right? We go real hard on the bands. But on this, I did about 22, 23 reps. I paused every rep, focused on that stretch, and just got a good burn in the chest. But I think I'm going to push that out a little harder maybe on the dynamic day, right? So one of the things that I kind of had said in some of my other videos, I said this morning that, if you really want to get great aesthetics and upper body development, if you're just adding something to a powerlifting program, dips, chin-ups, and pullovers, that will cover all your bases really, just for thickening up. Just worth noting. That whole combination of lifts, not bad. And I'm kind of doing all of that. And then I did band press downs. Again, getting the diet a little tighter. As I've dropped the carbs down, I do need the waist to start tightening up more, and it will. So again, that's gonna need another week or so, I feel like, to really kick in. Keep doing the fasted cardio, keep the carbs down, and let's see if we can get everything to kind of tighten back up. But I feel like the diet and cardio are where they need to be. I only did about 25 minutes, just over 20 minutes today on the cardio because it was max effort bench. But I did a fair amount this weekend, so it's all good. And then I just did 5 sets of high rep band press downs. I got about 35 on the first set, then I was getting down struggling with 15 to 16 near the end because of the short breaks and just the pump work, right? And so what I'm doing with these, I'm just chasing a really good pump. I'm not trying to fatigue myself into the ground, but I am going to push these hard, and because they carry over to my close grip bench so much. I was doing a ton of these when I hit that 365 close grip, about 3 years ago or so, right? When we hit that. So these were instrumental. I feel like a very critical lift in that. So just doing that to improve that bench lockout strength on that close grip, these work. And they keep the elbow tendons healthy. So we're getting a lot of fatigue, some good pump work, but it's not something that we can't recover from. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.